Welcome and hello everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Today we're going to talk about unemployment in China countries. So our guest today is Khadija Martin. Hi everyone. Okay guys, let's look at the background of China economy first. So China has a very large population, right? It means it also has a very large workforce.
Yeah, that's true, Bella. And while this is helps China in produce many goods, it also makes it harder to provide enough jobs for everyone.
Alright, so
China is also one of the biggest trading countries in the world. It exports products such as electronics, machines, clothes, and imports oil, raw materials, and advanced technology. Yeah. So in terms of industry, China is very strong in manufacturing, but it is also growing in construction, technology, and services. So the China's GDP is among the highest in the world, and its economy has grown very fast over the past few decades.
thank you Khadija for sharing us about a little bit China economic background. And thank you also to our listeners. And so see you on the next episode. Bye.
Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, and today we are discussing the type of unemployment in China, a real number to help us understand what is happening. Joining me is our guest, an economic researcher. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited today. So thanks for having me.
Let's begin with the big picture. What is China's current unemployment rate?
Okay, so right now, China officially surveyed employment rate. This is the most commonly reported figure. You see, it is hovering around 5.1% until 5.3%, and that means roughly 5 of every 100 urban workers and are unemployment based on the government survey.
So about 5% overall, but I heard the unemployment rate is much higher.
So, for a young adult age 16 to 24 years old, the unemployment rate is so much higher. It's around 16 until 18%, when excluding students actively stay home. And that shows that young people face much greater difficulty finding work compared to their overall workforce.
Then, let's go into different types of unemployment, starting with personal unemployment.
That's great. So, frictional unemployment happens when the people are between a job. So in China, every year, millions of students graduate are spending sometimes longer for reaching their first job. So that also is frictional unemployment.
Understandable. What about structural unemployment?
Okay, that's good. So for a night, structural unemployment actually when the skilled workers don't match their employees needs. So in China, many traditional manufacturing jobs are shrinking due to automation. This is where jobs in and services are expanding. So workers who can transition will spend unemployment more longer.
How does economic growth influence unemployment?
So that is cyclical unemployment. It is when the economy grows, companies get jobs. For example, during global slowdown or trade challenge, export sectors may also face. As the economy recovers, new jobs often disappear.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and to our listeners. Stay tuned for our next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello everyone and welcome to today's podcast. So today we are going to talk about unemployment, especially in a fast-growing country like China. Okay, we will discuss the causes of unemployment and the effect it has on people, society, and the economy. So joining me today is our guest. Welcome.
Thank you for having me today. I'm happy to be here.
Start with the causes of unemployment. Can you explain the first main causes?
Sure. The first causes is automation and technological advancement. As China becomes more modern, many companies use machine, robot, artificial intelligence. These technologies help companies to work faster and save money. But the problem here is, when machines can do the same job as humans, companies need fewer workers, especially for simple or routine jobs.
Who is affected by this?
Usually factory workers, low-skilled workers, and older workers. People with less education may find it hard to find a new job.
That makes sense. So what about the second cause?
The second cause is economic slowdown. In recent years, China's economic growth has slowed down when businesses earn less profit, they try to reduce costs. Some stop hiring and other lay off workers.
So, which businesses are affected the most?
Mostly small and medium sized businesses. When these businesses close or shrink, many workers lose their job. Then people spend less money, and this slow down the economy even more.
Now, let's move on to the affected of unemployment. So, how does unemployment affect the individuals?
So, unemployment can strongly affect the personal mental and emotional health. People may feel stress, anxiety, sadness, or frustration, especially when they worry about money or supporting the family. Long-term unemployment can also lead to depression and also a low self-esteem. So, it doesn't just affect income, but it affects confidence too.
That's really serious. So, now, how about the social effect?
So unemployment can increase social inequality. When people don't have income, they struggle to pay for food, housing, and education. This can make the gap between the rich and the poor even bigger. And also, unemployed people also often have a lower quality of life, with fewer opportunities and more daily challenges.
Finally, the economic effect.
So when people lose their job, they earn less money. When they invest, they spend less. This reduces business profit, so companies may cut production or stop hiring. As a result, the economy becomes weaker.
Thank you so much for joining us for today.
Thank you, it was a pleasure.
Alright, and also thank you to everyone for listening. See you next time on our podcast. Bye bye. Welcome guys to our economic podcast where we will explore how economic policy shapes in real life. So today we will be discussing how China uses monetary policy to help address unemployment. Joining me is our guest Danya, which is an economic student with a strong interest in China's economic policy. Welcome Danya. Thank you. This is a great topic because China's monetary policy plays a key role in supporting jobs and economic stability. Alright, let's start with open market operation. So can you tell me how does this tool help reduce unemployment in China? In China, the People Bank of China or LPC is an open market operation by buying government securities and conduct terrorism purchase agreement. This action is that liquidity into the banking system. When banks have more funds, they can lend more to business, especially small and medium-sized enterprises. This increased lending helps companies expand operations and receive or create a job, as well as reducing the unemployment. Alright, that's very important, especially for the smallest firms. What about lowering the required reserve ratio, or we call it RRR? Lowering the RRR is one of the China's most popular tools. When the BTC reduces the reserve ratio, banks are allowed to lend more of their deposits. In China, target RRR cuts often a support sector like manufacturing and a private enterprise, which are a major employer. More credit to this sector helps stabilize the employment and prevent the layoff. Alright, that's great. So now let's talk about lowering the discount rate or branch lending rate. When the PDC lowers a key policy rate, such as a medium-term lending facility rate, borrowing becomes cheaper for a commercial bank. This encourages them to increase lending return. Low financing costs allow business to invest in the production and maintain lower costs, which helps with unemployment problems. So finally, how do lower interest rates more importantly help China's job market? Lower interest rates reduce the loan cost for both business and households. For a company, cheaper loans support a attention and hiring. But for the household, it increases the consumption boost, demand for goods and services, encouraging a perspective of higher market. Together, they support overall employment. So, in some ways, China is market for monetary tools to increase liquidity or support businesses and also protect jobs. Exactly. While monetary policy can solve unemployment alone, it plays a crucial role in supporting a growth and a job creation in China. Thank you so much, Sonia, for sharing your insight. And thank you also to our listeners for listening in the economic podcast. And see you next episode. Bye. Today, I will explain another part, which is fiscal policy and how it helps reduce unemployment in China. Fiscal policy refers to the action taken by the government to through the public spending, subsidies, and taxation to increase the economic activity and employment. In China, fiscal policy is especially important because it allows the government to intervene directly in the labor market. Compared to other policy too, fiscal policy often produced by more immediate and feasible interests, as is a directly creates jobs, support firm, and help sustain household income. Due to China largest the population and the complex labor market structure, the Chinese government really heavily on, especially in fiscal policy, or during the periods of economic slowdown and the global uncertainty. Firstly, in terms of government spending, China has invested heavily in the largest scale infrastructure projects such as highway, rapid transit system, renewable energy, and the smart city development. These projects are mainly funded by the central government, which is support from the local authorities. Infrastructure investment creates direct employment in construction, engineering, and the project management. At the same time, it also generates indirect jobs in manufacturing, transportation, and utility service. For example, work relief program create around 2.45 million jobs for low income household in the early 2024. In addition, water conservancy project provide approximately 2.6 local employment opportunities, helping the absorb surplus labor in the economy. Secondly, tax policy help to encourage the job creation, especially in the among small and the medium enterprise of SMEs. Tax cuts through the reduction reduce the business cost, improve the cash flow, and allow them to maintain or increase their workforce. In conclusion, fiscal policies play the vital role in reducing the unemployment in China. With the government spending on infrastructure and the support to tax policy, the Chinese government is able to create the employment opportunities, establish the labor market, and support the long-term economic growth. So guys, now for today we were talking about how China uses direct control measures in its economy to prevent unemployment. Okay, right. So first off, when we say direct control, we mean the government that actively stepping in to manage employment and stabilize the job market instead of just letting the market decide on its own. So in China, the government has a few main styles or ways to doing this. One big method is through state-owned enterprise, also known as SOEs. Okay, so these are companies owned by government, and they often hire people during slow economic periods to keep unemployment low. Okay, so another way is through public works and infrastructure projects. China invests a lot in building roads, bridges, railways, and urban development projects. Not only does this improve the country's infrastructure, but it also creates millions of jobs directly. And let's not forget about employment subsidies and job guarantees. The government sometimes provides financial support to companies that hire workers or even offers direct employment programs, especially for young graduates entering the workforce. Beautiful.
Alright, thank you so much for Masini because sharing that news to us. And thank you also to our listeners. So stay tuned for more insight into how different countries connect their economy. Bye-bye. So, to conclude, the unemployment in China is a serious issue because of the huge population and the rapid changes in their economy. But their government have done a good job by preventing the unemployment by using direct control such as SOEs, state-owned enterprise, and using the 5-year term. So by using this method, they got to prevent the unemployment rate.